Ours is not programmed to do that. So.
All right, so today we're going to talk about how to display a really big image on an Android device. And so the idea for this is a mapping aid. This is the map of the campus. And so I'm gonna cut this up and make this into an image that I can display, and then write the Android Java code to be able to zoom in on it and zoom out on it and scroll it around. That's the objective of this. So the first thing we have to do, this is a PDF. So I have to convert this into graphics. Now, there are several ways to do this, but one of them, the one that most people use, is to convert this into a web page and then embed the web page and all the images into the Android assets. And then in the Android views, you create a web view to display that page, and the web view takes care of scrolling and zooming in and out. So that makes it fairly simple. So the first thing we need to do is convert this into a web page. So that's the PDF. I'm going to use Photoshop, and I'm going to take this map and put it into Photoshop. Eventually it will. It's a big, it converts it into a big image in Photoshop, because PDFs are supposed to be resolution independent, so that they will be able to print on any device. You could print it on a 30,000 by 30,000 printer or a 72 DPI printer. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to take that, create it, and you see it's 300 dots per inch or 300 pixels per inch at 10 inches. So this is going to be like 3,000 pixels wide and 2,100 pixels high. So we'll go ahead and do that. So there it is. It took it out and made the background all transparent. So I'm going to cut everything else out except the map itself. So I'm going to go here and cut all of this stuff. So I want the building itself and the southern street, Mission Avenue here. So I'm going to copy that and crop it. So now I've got just an image that is smaller. It's showing 16%. If I show this at actual pixels, you'll see it's pretty big, right? It's still, that's going to be scrolling left and right pretty big. All right. So what I want to do is use Photoshop's slicing tool to create a bunch of little images. And if you use the slicing tool, it will actually save each square as a separate little image, and it will create the HTML to display that as an HTML page. So it puts each little image in a table, all lined out for you, all exactly perfect, and it creates the HTML. So that's under here, the cropping tool. We're going to say Slice Select Tool. And up here, we're going to click. Well, we have to click once. We have to click once on the page, and now the divide comes up. We want to divide this evenly, so we're gonna divide this into, say, 5 slices horizontally, and you can see 5 going down like this, and maybe 6 going across. So those are roughly squares. It looks like it's 352 by 399. Those are roughly squares images. Okay, pretty close. So I say OK. So now it's already sliced. The only thing I now have to do is to save this into an HTML file. So under File, I say Save for Web. And you can see this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to save them all as GIF images. Here's the huge image size. And dang, that thing keeps coming up. I'm going to say Save. and it says, do you want to save the images only or everything? So I want to save HTML and images. And I'm going to create a new folder here. We'll call it School Map, so that it puts all my images and everything in this folder. And I want to save all the slices. So we'll say save. Done. I can go look at my folder now. It was in Documents, I believe. School Map. And there's my HTML file, and here's all the images. So it saved all of the images with a different number after each one of them. I can look at one image. It's going to open IE, really? So there's one of those images. All right. So let's look at it in a browser. I can just open up this HTML page. Come on. Chrome is not responding. Isn't that nice? So, all right. So here's the image, and I can scroll around. I mean, yeah, this is the HTML, and I can look at the source, and you can see that it created this table with the width and the height, and each table cell has an image in it. All right, so that's all it is. Very simple HTML page. All right, isn't that cool?
Yes.
So that's a start. So now, well, we can get out of Photoshop. We don't care about that. And we want to take that data, this entire piece of data that we created, and we want to move it into our Android project. And I need to create a new folder in here where I'm going to put that. And a standard place to do that is to create a folder called Assets. So I've got a folder here called Assets, and I'm going to move that that folder and all the images into my Assets folder. Okay, sorry. So all I need to do is copy all of these pieces into my Assets folder. Just move them right into there. Say OK. And sure. So now I've got all my assets in here. This page shows me the HTML. Each image is in here. I can look at each image separately. And IntelliJ does a nice job of showing that to me. Isn't that great? Let's close everything. All right, so now we're ready to create a new layout for displaying this on the Android device. So in my resources layouts, I need to create a new resource, and I'm going to call it map. And I'm going to use relative layout as the base root element here. Wait for it to come up. My computer is really slow. It's the max, yeah. I don't think so. All right, so here it is. I'm going to now add a web view to this. So there's a widget that I can add automatically called a web view. Here we go. So I can drag that out onto the screen. And make it as large as the screen. And to do that, we want our height to match the parent. All right? And the width to match the parent. And that will force it into that width of whatever device we're displaying it on. So if it's a tablet, it should be a lot bigger web view. All right? So its ID is web view. We'll just leave it web view. I only have one on here, so that's fine. So let's go now and create the new class to associate that. So I need a new Java class. I'm going to call it a map. Very descriptive, right? And it's going to extend what?
Base activity.
Base activity. Very good. All right. So we have our new class. Extend the base activity. And I'm going to need some things to deal with that web view. So I need a place to store a pointer to my web view import to package. And the first method that I write on these is what?
Create.
On create. So protected, void, on create, bundle, saved instance state. And we call the super automatically with the saved instance state passing up there. Import our bundle package. We set content view, very good. So we're going to set the content view of this to the layout called map, which I already have created. And then I'm going to need a pointer to the web view. We're going to cast this to be called from the find view by ID, r.id.webview. Some of this gets very tedious to have to write all the time. I would think that if I should be able to say create a class from this layout, and boom, it would create all that. It seems programmatically able to do that. I should be able to do that.
Sure. Or
Yeah, I could do it with Ruby, right? Sure. All right. And then we can set some different. This is a web view, so there's lots of different things we can do. I'm going to just do one to start with. I can set the initial scale of this web view to be 1, which is the highest it can go. And then we'll place it with some other stuff later, and I'm going to call my initialize app, which I'm going to create. And inside of here, I'm going to call the web view .load URL. And I'm going to load it from a file inside of my asset. So I can use a file URL, file with 3 slashes, which is really strange to me. I don't know why they have 3. I haven't figured that out yet. No, not the escape would be the backslash like this. So it's an interesting problem. A typical URI only has 2, even for a file. So I don't know why they do that. But anyway, I want to look up the special folder called Android_asset, and that's my assets folder here. and I want to load the file called SCC map. So I'm going to rename this so that it's, well, I guess it doesn't matter. scc-map.html. All right. Any questions on that so far? Fairly simple, right? So I'm going to pause this while I start my virtual machine. All right, so I got my virtual machine up. We'll run our project. Launch my emulator. And, of course, it fails. Thank you very much. So I've got to go delete my old app. I never had to do that before. I don't know what's causing that, but we're all having little issues. Pardon me? What was what?
The web view on your map. You're just doing the.
What is it?
You're actually just doing the web view.
Yeah. Oh, I have no way to get to my web view, so why am I running it? So I have to add my activity where? In my menu and my manifest. So lots of places, right? So let's make sure I can get to my map. So we will copy and paste some. Come on, seriously? We'll call this .map. Single instance, good. We will go to our menu, master menu. We'll add a new item to our menu. Come on. And we'll call it switch to map. And I don't have a nice thing for that one. Call it map.
Base activity.
And then in my base activity, which is here.
Case statement. You're right there, up top.
Well, I was thinking about what he was saying here. So let's add this in here. Switch to map. Start new activity, and we'll call the map class. Lots of little places. Isn't that painful? I could take the icon off. I had an icon on my Mac. I should probably bring it over, but. I go here. I go to images.google.com, and I search for map, and then I use the search tools to look for a size of an icon, and then I click on this guy, and I find where it is. That's a government site. I'm probably not going to take it from a government site. So
Public domain if it's a government site.
no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. There are some that are Blogspot. I mean, there are some icon. I only find them through here. I don't know. There's dry icons. So this is probably safe. We can visit the page and see. Free. So it's got a free commercial. It's got a free license. So I can download this. Download ping. I need what size do I need? Where are my icons? So this is 128. So I need 128 pixels. So I'm going to drag this sucker over here. Map search.ping, and then I can change my master menu to use the icon map search. All right, is that better? Yay! All right. Yes.
Somewhat related.
Yeah.
What happens to the master menu on the application itself when you have a bunch of icons there? Does
It at some point it runs out of room, and and we might have to play with these show as.
Okay.
It drops it down to a side menu. So if you run out of them, you then have this pull-down menu that has all these others.
So that would overflow into there.
Yeah.
The show is always, you take some of the less important ones off.
Yeah. Yeah, you can manipulate that programmatically, but it's not worth it for me now. But look at that, beautiful. Is that beautiful? So I can click on my map. Look at that. See that? Isn't that beautiful up here?
That's an awesome map. Is that a broken image?
No, it's there.
It's there. Wow.
See, can't you see the little?
Yeah, it's a little flag where you're at currently.
See that? See that right there? So let's go back to our map class here, and let's set some more settings than our initial scale. So we can do some things like allow the web view to support scrolling and zooming. So we can say webview.getSettings.set support zoom. You can put it anywhere you want. In this case, it doesn't make any difference, but web view get settings dot set load with overview mode as true. And what this is supposed to do is zoom the farthest out. All right, and then we need a web view dot get settings dot set use wide viewport as true, and we need a web view dot get settings dot set built in zoom controls as true. So that will show our little zoom controls and things that we need. So let's try it again. Come on. There we go. It hasn't started yet, or it would show my BMI calculator. There we go. I don't think it's running my new stuff. There we go. There we go, much better. Isn't that great? So now I can double click on this. I can click and drag and move around, and I've got a cool little map. Isn't that sweet? If I rotate my device, it automatically figures that out and uses the widest viewpoint, which is what we did here. This use the wide viewport. I've got zoom controls here, which also respond to pinching and zooming and grabbing and all that kind of stuff if I was on a real device. So, isn't that cool? Sweet. All right, any questions on any of that? Now, it only zooms out to the widest part now. So I still have to scroll up and down. It won't zoom beyond the wide viewport here. Not bad, eh? And it zooms in pretty nice. I still have good quality when I'm zooming in because I created it from such a big picture to start with. The PDF at 300 dots per inch, so it was pretty good, or pixels per inch. All right, any questions on any of that? That was pretty simple, really.
Can you put all that in one line? Instead of webview dot set log, webview dot get settings.
I don't think so because this doesn't return a get settings. You're saying dot set zoom dot set load on.
Yeah.
No. This would have to return a get settings object for that to happen, and that doesn't do that. All right, pretty simple to display a web page. Now, all I have to do, I can change my web page here, and you guys know how to do web coding, and make it look however I want it to, and the web view would take care of that. You could even put JavaScript on here, and the web view will execute that JavaScript in that little piece of view that you have. Isn't that fun? Fairly simple. Now, any questions?
Will we be doing the same way for HTML now?
Yes. Yeah, you would take the PDF and it's the same concept, same idea. Now, there are different ways of doing this. There is another way that I haven't personally had a chance to do yet, but it looks like a better way because I started having a lot of trouble. And what I'll do, I'll go through what I did tomorrow. Trying to select a building and have the web view scroll to that building. That's what I wanted to do. I created a spinner at the top with all the buildings along with a location where they should go to, and I tried to scroll the web view programmatically to that spot. But it got really complicated knowing what zoom level you were at and how many pixels to scroll because it changes based on the zoom level that you have. So I wasn't able to get that to work correctly. But this one is a tile view class. It doesn't use a web view at all. And all you have to do is create a bunch of images that are named correctly, and it will load the images as needed as you're scrolling through left and right and up and down and zooming in and out. So if you zoom in to a smaller level, you actually have to save the images at that detail. So you have like 4 or 5 different levels of detail that you've saved, and it loads the right image at the right time depending on your zoom level and everything. So what I wanted to do was try to play with this one, and it has all kinds of things that you can do with it. You can add markers to it. You can paths. You can add all kinds of stuff on top of it. So it was pretty nice animation that makes it scroll nicer. So I just haven't played with that one. But this is a lot simpler in terms of programming, actually, than what I was trying to do in scrolling. It got very complicated. So I'd like you guys to play with that one. But if I can get that one to work, I'll do a lecture on that one, because that was pretty cool. To give you, they have some videos here that show you how it works. So there's the zoomed out, and as you zoom in, he's actually loading different images and levels of images as you scroll in. So it's a pretty nice. It might. You are taking a lot more images to deal with this. See how it changed. see it's pixelated, and then it loads in the next one. So he zooms in, and as time permits, he loads the other images in. So it's a good way to go. It's pretty cool. And then on top of this, you can add your own markers and basically create some portion of Google Maps, which would be perfect for a building or a campus type of location system, because you're using fixed images of the location rather than Google Maps data. So it's a whole different thing. All right? So, I don't know, we can play with that tomorrow, or I will show you what I was doing to add a spinner to this. And what I did was I made this smaller and added a spinner here so that you could select a particular building and try to scroll to that building. Same thing for a room. You have all the rooms in building 1. You want to be able to scroll to it. You want to at least see it. We can't do internal building GPS because the signal is not reliable. So we can't actually show them walking to the place. But at least we can show it to them where it is. And most people in college should be able to read a map at least, you'd think. Not always the case. All right, any other questions on that? No, they're not. All right, enough for today.